This is the Real Estate Power Play Podcast, getting you the information that you need to be a successful real estate investor. Hosted by Mark Monroe, Ronald Walker, Gabe Rodarte, and me, Marty Grizzanti. Combined, we've done thousands of real estate transactions. So get ready for real stories and true case studies on finding deals, growing portfolios, and making money. Welcome to the show.
Yo, what is up? We're here today, Real Estate Power Play, coming at you again with another episode. I'm your host today with Mark Monroe, and we're just going to be chewing the fat a bit, right, Mark? We're going to be talking about some of the things that I think are really critical, especially in this market, which is networking. And it's how to network and where to network and how to find like-minded people. Because I'll tell you right now, some of the bigger deals that we're doing and the better deals that we're doing, Mark, is from hanging out with people that it's taken some time, but the more you're around them and you're seeing what they're doing, it starts to diffuse right into you. But anyway, before we get into all that, Mark, how are you, buddy? How's Florida? I know you just had Gabe down there, so how was that?
Yeah, speaking of networking, Gabe, we came down, we hung out yesterday. We just networked and kind of just came up with like how we can network and kind of, use my networking people and his networking people, and like you said, how we can do much larger deals together. So, but I'm great. I think you guys were holding down last week. I was in the Canary Islands, and that was quite the experience down there. That's very cool. So it's off of Spain, it's very cool. But otherwise, networking, this is what it's about. And I highly recommend networking is going to take you to your next level, no matter where you're at in your real estate career.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, that's why we did the show, right? I mean, a lot of it was we wanted to bring on people who you wouldn't normally talk to or be able to, dive into their business without letting them talk about themselves, right? And it's got to be mutual. Networking, you want to have it be mutually beneficial. So we created a show that was going to be mutually beneficial where we could bring people on, learn about their business, maybe harvest some of their strategies and take it for ourselves. But at the same time, they could then let people know about them. And then, that opens up marketing opportunities for different things that they might be working on. But yeah, no, this is really big, guys. I mean, a lot of people don't take advantage of networking. A lot of people don't take advantage of this. So this is if you're an outgoing person, or even if you're not an outgoing person, where it's even harder for you, well, think about all the people, Mark, that don't do any sort of networking, right? You just think about all the people that, you go, man, you're missing out. You could really do a lot more, by letting people know what it is that you're looking for, right? I mean, what's like for you, what is what is networking for you? I just think of marketing, like it just already came out, right? But for you, what is networking for you? How do you network where you're, where you find the most success?
Well, first of all, and a lot of people that don't network, and I can understand why they think this because I used to think this years and years ago. A lot of times people are afraid to network because they don't want people knowing what they're doing. They're looking at them as their competitor. But in fact, these people that your competitors that you're thinking of are actually going to end up possibly being business partners and you guys can end up making money together. So keep that in mind. But for me, networking is just, you're growing, you're constantly growing and, for me, I'm bringing a lot of value, but I like going to places and networking event where I'm actually the dumbest person in the room. I like surrounding myself with people that are superior to me so I can kind of network and learn from them and help them. And what can I do to bring value? So that was always my mindset. But now in my career, I'm getting to a point where a lot of times I'm going to these places and yes, I network. Yes, I'm more than happy to help people. But then some of these events I go to, I'm not getting anything back in value, if that kind of makes sense. You kind of get to a level. So then you have to change your networking strategies wherever you've been networking. If you get to an area where you've been networking and you're kind of plateaued out and you don't feel you're growing within your network, then you need to start looking at other networks to kind of bring yourself to another level. Does that make sense what I'm saying, Marty?
Yeah, 100%. I love that. I think it's, a couple things. I think that when you definitely want to be the smallest fish in the room, if you can, you want to be the the, quote unquote, dumbest person in the room, because then you're in the right room. The thing that I think people maybe make some mistakes with their own mental roadblocks is that they go, well, I haven't done enough to go to this meeting, right? Like you think about some of these people who are real estate investors and they're maybe just beginners and they're like, well, I shouldn't be going to a meetup. I don't have anything. Or, I'm a renter, but that's the thing. Like you got to be around those people to kind of capture what it is, like that why they are the way they are. Like, what is it that makes them different? Why are they, who they are? And so being around those people, it will rub off. It's crazy. And even if you're just somebody who, like, I think people have this problem, Mark, where they don't feel like they belong. Well, once you walk in the room, you realize that people are human beings. They're all just humans. They all have issues. And honestly, a lot of times you could just go and, hey, buy somebody a drink and be like, hey, so what do? You don't even have to talk about yourself. You don't even have to let them know that you don't have any deals, right? You're networking correctly when they don't really know anything about you. You know everything about them. And then guess what you can do when that's going on? You can add value to them. And that's how you start to go, oh, well, that's so funny that you talked about your social media because I saw your videos and I'm somebody that does that type of thing. I'd be happy to help you out. Oh, okay. Well, what do you do, Marty? Right. And then that's how you can start to get some help after you've added some value to them. Right. But no. And let me just say another thing, Mark. I think you just said something great was, okay, once you reach that level, right? Because it's all levels. There's levels to this. And I remember my first networking meeting, right? And now I have my own, right? And that's great. And now that doesn't start day one. I don't want people to feel like, oh man, no, it takes time and it takes some adjustment. But sometimes to get to that next level, you do have to pay to go into that room. Okay. So people don't be afraid to pay to that room. It doesn't mean you have to spend thousands of thousands. It might be you spend a couple $100 to go to an event, right? To then see a different side, to see the way other people are working and doing things. It's incredible, but networking isn't just, it's absolutely a vital part of our business.
Yeah, I remember many, many years ago, my first networking event, local RIA. We didn't really have the internet at the time where it's a lot easier. So I went to a local RIA. I walked into this place. I was terrified. I didn't even walk. I walked in, but I never walked into the networking group. I just walked in the place, stood over in a corner, kind of like, and I never went in. I never went and started talking to people. I was just like terrified because I didn't know anything. I'm like, so it's just like, but then after you kind of just got to push yourself. It's kind of like if you're a guy or a girl and you see somebody that's attractive and you want to walk up to and talk to, it's kind of, you just gotta, it's not even that terrifying. You know what I mean? Like that's even more terrifying. Like walking up to somebody, like,
Right.
but just think of it like you're walking up to a family member or somebody that you went to high school with or any of your buddies, and because they're there for the same thing you are. So keep that in mind. They're there to network, and even if you're new and you don't have anything that to bring in value, there's people there that will help you to bring your level because you're going to bring value for them. So you got to keep that in mind. And you may not understand what kind of value you can bring to somebody if you have no experience. Just go, start learning, start understanding, hey, what do you need? And how you can kind of grow that type of thing. That's kind of, and then the other thing is nowadays is where to find networking events. Marty, why don't you tell us where you can find those?
Yeah, I think, like you said, the RIAs, right? So if you go to, like, in Rochester, we have a couple meetups. We have the FRIA, which is the Freedom First Real Estate Investment Association. They meet monthly, or they meet more than that. There's actually a calendar right on their website. So people locally, we have our meetup, the Upstate New York Real Estate Investors, which is also pseudo partnership with FRIA. So that's cool too. You can come. We do those monthly. Ours are a little more chill, but all very good. But yeah, you go right there. You can even go to meetup.com. They have those on there, a lot of them. Facebook groups. If you just type in like your city and then real estate, you'll probably find a Facebook group where it might just be a virtual Facebook meetup. But here's a slick trick. If you don't have one, start one, because that's a really great way to build credibility and authority in your market, even if you don't really know much about real estate, but maybe you're really good at just bringing people together. And maybe you know somebody who has an event space, and maybe you know somebody who can get the word out, and maybe you can partner with those people, right? So kind of thinking differently, but that's definitely a great way of going about it, Mark. I really like that. Now,
Awesome.
one of the things, Mark, I wanted to ask you though is when you're going to these meetups, right? That first RIA event, you know, I kind of look at it like going to the gym. You didn't really talk to anybody, you went there, but that's okay as long as you go back again, right? So I think it's kind of like going to the gym. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to work out when you go to the gym, but make it a habit of going, because all of a sudden things are going to start happening where people kind of go, well, what do you do? Here's a slick trick. And then I want to hear yours. All you got to ask somebody when you're at these meetups is go, so what type of real estate investing do you do? Hi, I'm Marty. What type of real estate? You know, hi, I'm Marty. What's your name? Hey, and usually there's name tags. So you can go, hey, Mark, how you doing? I'm Marty. I saw you over there. I just was curious. So what type of real estate investing do you do? And then boom, you don't have to say another word. That person's going to chew your ear for the next 20, 30 minutes, sometimes longer. And then they'll start passing you off to other people. Hey, this is Marty. He's doing all that. Da, 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 da. And then it kind of like starts the chain reaction. But anyway, what is your, you know, first maybe conversation? Because guys, this is the thing. Some people have a really tough time with like that first initial, well, how do you talk to people? Like, you know, how do you talk to your fellow human beings? So how do you do it, Mark?
I think nowadays with technology, most of these meetup groups have online groups. I'd recommend going to those places first. Like, look at speaking of networking, I built a huge networking group on Facebook. You know, we're over 60,000 people now in that particular one. So what I'd recommend is just go look, like what Marty was saying, look for your local area, and then you'll find local meetups, and then just start going in there and start looking and seeing what's going on, talking to people, and get to become friends with people. So then when you go to these meetups in person, you don't feel like you're walking in and you don't know anybody. You know, so that's kind of one of the things I kind of recommend is just kind of go online. Bigger Pockets is another great place. There's a whole section on there for meetups. I recommend that as well. But the Facebook groups, or you can start talking to people and start communicating back and forth online. That's kind of one of the things. But you know, now what I've done is I've taken the networking level to another whole level on steroids to go out there and even get raising capital. I'll go to an event that has nothing to do with real estate, and I think I might have mentioned this a couple times. Um, I was looking for a conference or an event with high level individual net worth, and I saw down at the Ritz Carlton they had a cardiac physician like conference going on. So what I did is I went down to the Ritz Carlton, I hung out at the lobby bar, and guess where all the business is done? I started talking and networking with these physicians. Hey, what do you do? You know, then they start talking like, oh, you guys are here for the physician. And I'm like, and then ask me what I'm doing. I'm like, oh, I'm real estate. And then they'll say, oh, God, I wish I could do real estate. I just don't have the time. Ding, ding, ding. There's
Yep.
your private money partners, people, right then
Yep.
and there. So I've raised quite a bit of capital that way. So now, like I said, I've taken it to another whole level.
Yeah, that's a really great nugget right there is, you know, for raising capital with networking, how do you do that, right? Because that's another reason why people do it. When they go to these events, they're looking to raise money. Well, I'll give you guys a story. You know, you're in a group of all these people looking to do the same thing, right? If you're going to a real estate event, a lot of these people are trying to raise money. Here's how you can differentiate yourself. Go to like you said, that cardiac event where all the doctors are. Go to that, the dental meetup. Go to the, the professional meetups that are not real estate related. And I believe you can really find a lot of folks that are excited about real estate that might want to partner with you, and you can explain to them how you work and your process and all those great things. So yeah, that's really great advice, Mark.
Yeah, even the Chamber of Congress. I mean, they're all business people. There's another great source if you're looking for capital as well, to people to partner up with. Highly recommend going to those, and they're everywhere. And that's another great place to just kind of get out there and start networking, because you can network besides other real estate investors. You can network with other individuals. So when you start getting these deals, or if you're doing deals, you'll be able to get more deal flow coming in from people. Oh, I know Marty's up in Rochester, and actually, how many times in our networking and I see somebody looking for something in Rochester in one of our my groups and we're networking, and I'll go ahead, hey, I'll tag Marty or I'll tag this person. So we're all helping each other to grow. So that's the beauty of it. So once you get out there and you start talking to people and they know what you're doing, then you'll start getting referrals.
That's exactly that, right? So that's the beauty of this being on social media. I talk to my friends who are in real estate, they're not on social media. I go, what are you doing? I go, it's not about you. It's about, it's not about your, yes, can you post some personal stuff? Sure, but it's a business. Use it for business. It's really a great business tool. And that one tag could make me hundreds of thousands of dollars because nobody knows anybody in Rochester, New York. But Mark, who's the authority in that group, tags me, and then I'm able to do business with this person. This happens all the time. It really does. So, yeah, 100% do that for sure. I was going to talk about another piece of this, Mark, and I think you said it was marketing. So, networking, you can raise money through the networking, right? You can also market your business and yourself, and you can learn from other business owners. So like when you were talking about the Chamber of Commerce or even any of the business events, the business networking, you get to be around people that you're not typically around at your dive bar, right? You're not going to get a lot of great networking done at your local thirst parlor. So, that's the difference. Again, it's what do you want? Do you really want it? When people tell me, I really want to do this, I really want to be a real estate investor, or I really want to be in business. Okay, well, you got to be around people that are really doing it. And you got to do stuff that you might not necessarily feel comfortable doing the first time, but it does get simpler. It gets easier. You start to build relationships with these people and they will help you, but you're marketing yourself as someone who is a credible person, right? If I've never met you before and we want to do a deal with me, I don't find you credible. But if I've seen you at an event, I haven't even talked with you, but I know that you show up to these events, the credibility goes way up. What are your thoughts on just that in itself?
100%, because you start to know who these people are, and and when people are talking to these people, who are doing deals. And not just deals, like you can go to networking, like say you are doing deals, but you're running into some other issues, like, you know, systems, helping people out with systems. Like, hey, I'm doing, 2, 3 deals a month, but I can't get to another level because of whatever systems that you have in place. Go out there and talk to other individuals that you see that are successful at doing certain things, and start talking to them. These people will all help you out. Everybody's here to help each other out. As long as you're not going crazy and taking all the time, but just getting all the pointers and understanding what they're trying to do, they're more than happy. And then eventually, it comes back around. That's how we all look at it in real estate. Hey, I'm willing to help you because down the road, you may end up coming back around and we end up may doing a deal. You may come across a deal, or you may have capital over here, or it doesn't matter. It's just that's the beauty of this. And especially when you start getting into larger deals, there's a whole room, a bunch of players on one particular deal kind of helping each other out. You'll be having somebody out there finding a deal, you have realtors involved, you have property managers involved, you have real attorneys involved. Hey, who's this? Do you know a good attorney down in Maryland? Do you know a good attorney up in Rochester? And actually, Marty, I'd hit you up about, a couple of years ago. Had a deal down towards New York City, and I'm like, Marty, do you know anybody down in that can handle, doing business in New York? And you absolutely referred somebody over to me.
It's a nice thing to be able to refer people to. It's a nice thing to be able to help people. Number one, and part of what you said, and I think would be advice that I would give folks when you are, because again, Mark, we got to go back to the basics for a lot of people because it comes naturally to you now. You've done this for over 20 years, and I'm very comfortable doing these types of things. But for folks that are not, right, I would say a couple things. Number one is to, be on time to the events. You don't want to really come late. And not that that's wrong. I would just say that I feel like you'll have more confidence when you're there, when the thing starts, so that the people that are running it can go, hey, welcome. I haven't seen your face before. What's your name? And then you get momentum through that. If you're late, you're just in the crowd, because a lot of people think, well, I don't want to, stick out. I'll just come late. No, come early. And that way you can meet the people putting the events together, because those are the people who can then get the ball rolling for you and say, hey guys, this is Mark Monroe. He's new to the group, but he helped me actually set up the table. Mark's a new investor, so this guy's been doing deals forever. Marty, talk to Mark. Okay, hey Mark. And then boom. So you want momentum early in your networking career or in your first networking meetings. Okay. The second thing is, don't have your business card ready to hand out to just everybody. Okay. Wait to give your business card. So what do I mean by that? So my mistake when I started early on was I wanted to give as many business cards out to as many people as I could. And what I was doing was not really building relationships. I was doing me. Here's me. Here's my card. Here's me. What you want to do is you want somebody, when you're having that conversation, you want to be able to really have one or two very tight conversations with people. Don't go in there trying to meet everybody in the room. That's hard to do. Go in there going, I want to make 1 to 2 really solid connections with somebody. Okay. So when you go in, it's that way, it's a lot simpler. You don't have to feel, oh geez, how am I going to talk to this person? Okay. That's number 2. Number 3 is, when you are talking to somebody, don't overlook that person for the next person in the room, right? Give that person as much time and as much effort in listening and in hearing them and wanting to be a part of that conversation. Because the worst thing in the world, and I've had it on me and I've done it to people when I was a beginner, was when you're talking to somebody and they're just waiting for the next person to talk to. They're looking for that person that they wanted to talk to next, right? And that's horrible. You don't want to do that. It doesn't feel good. So yes, in this person, Matthew Lyman, let's see. Thanks for commenting, Matthew. It's also very disingenuous to jump from person to person. I agree. It doesn't help you. It makes you look way worse. Okay. And that person you're jumping to, guess what? They probably don't want to talk to you either. If that's the way you're going to act. So anyway, I agree. Just take your time. You really, this is a long-term game. Make one really good connection. If you can make 2, that's great. And go early, help set up if you need to, and stay late, even if that means you got to help, maybe clean some stuff up and put some stuff away. But you're gonna, again, this is for people who have never done it and they don't really know how to do it and they're really kind of shy. Those are really good tips that I think would really help them and separate themselves. Mark, you got anything to add to that?
I'm gonna take it to another level. So that's great information for people just starting out, and if you are trying to get there. But let's talk about the individuals. If you're going to read meetups right now, right, and you're going to your local ones, you're going to the free ones. And Marty, you hit something in the beginning of our conversation. For me, I feel the paid events now are taking me to another even whole level. To another, like I went to a couple years ago, I went to the best ever conference, multifamily. It was like $2,200 just to walk in the door. Actually, 2,500 to go into this event. And the caliber of people at this thing, over the top. Large mobile home park owners, large multifamily. Oh my God, who was I'm thinking? One of the anyways, there was an actor that A-list actor. Oh my God, I'm trying to think of his name. Uh, he was in the movie Train. What was that guy's name? And, anyways, he was even there because they're there to put their money into some of these large deals, and I was just like really really blown away. And the caliber of people there are just at another whole level. So once you get to that level and you start doing some deals and you're going to your local, and if you want to go to the next level, start looking at different events. And I highly recommend at least going to one event a quarter that you paid to, and just go and really go to another whole lot. Because yes, you're going to find the local RIAs and you're going to find the local ones. Those are great. But then when you go to the larger ones, like fly to like New York City or Orlando or Vegas, wherever, Miami, there's different ones. I highly recommend doing that because that's going to take you to another extreme level.
Yeah, you're going to see what people are doing, and you're going to see that they're just regular people that have scaled their business. Or, I mean, geez, I'm always blown away when I go to those meetups, Mark, and they're always worth it. No matter what I spent, it's always worth it. And so for those that have the means to do it, I would do it, and I would do it now. If I could go back, I would have done a bunch more. So yeah, you're just, again, it's just a mindset shift when you see these folks, real people doing things that, you maybe see on video, you might see on, you hear them on a podcast, right? These folks, but they're there and they're really doing deals and they're really changing their lives. And that's kind of why, that's why we do what we do, is to have that freedom and to have that fun. So yeah, I think that's a fantastic thing. Now let's bring it back to, for the beginner, because I know a lot of these people are beginners here. What's another useful tip when they're maybe talking to people? What's something that you've done that maybe helps bring the conversation out of folks? Maybe there's something that you do that you say to people. I always think complimenting people on their shirt or their shoes that I like. I tell them that, and that usually gets a laugh, and then, opens up for stories. Or I tell them about, hey, I saw your, I'm usually going to meetups where I've watched something that they've done, or I've heard them on a podcast. Anything that you do that might help people, maybe connect with somebody they want to connect with. Maybe they want to talk to that leader in the room.
Believe it or not, I talk about sports in that local community. Like, hey, you're up in Rochester. Hey, how about those Bills? Or what did they do? I can't believe they traded this one. Or, Tom Brady went to Tampa. I can't believe he did that. So if you don't know a whole lot about real estate, you feel uncomfortable, talk about something else that you feel comfortable talking about with, that a little bit topic that they will have. So sports is another good way if you're into sports, or something that that there might be a development project going on in your local community. Hey, do you know who's doing this particular project over there? Something like those lines can help break the ice a little bit, and then it just segues into other conversations and what you guys each other do.
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, talking sports, that will always be good. That will always be good. And another one, I think, for those who do Embiid, I have a drink. Have a drink with the person. Grab a drink before them. You'll really build up a lot of connection, I think, doing that. Oh, yeah. Hey, this is a good tip. Matt Lyman, here is a great tip, guys. As Dale Carnegie said, the one thing that people love to hear more than anything else in the world is their very own name. Remember names. I agree with this 100%. I always, my wife is like, you don't need to know everyone's name. I am paranoid about knowing people's names. I think knowing people's names is super critical. I think it shows that you care about them. It shows that you know them. I always use people's first names when I'm talking to them. And, it's manners, really what it is, and it matters. It really does matter. And I love hearing my name. I love when people remember my name. And I love when people go, wow, you remembered my name. How did you, why, what? Like, yes, I did. And I study it, right? Because, with our meetups, there's a lot of people that come. And so I need to know these people's names, especially if they've showed up more than one or two, once or twice, and it matters to them. And so it matters to me. So yeah, great tip. What are your thoughts on that, Mark?
100%. And then another one I like to do afterwards is, when you meet somebody that that you definitely want to network and keep connecting, add that person to your phone and put notes in there, different conversations, if they bring up something about their children, or if they bring something that they're working on. So when you go back to that next event next month, you can kind of pull it up and kind of read your notes. Oh yeah, this person did that. Like, I remember I was having a conversation one time with somebody, and I did put notes in here. They're bringing their daughter to college orientation, and I didn't see this person for about 3 months. And I saw the person, so I pulled up my notes and just looked at it real quick. And I walked up and I'm like, "Hey, how did that go? The orientation?" And the guy looks at me and goes, "You remember that?" You know. So I
It
did
means a
remember it
lot.
until I looked at my notes.
It means a lot. It means a lot. And that reminds me of, another like separator is something that we started doing, and this is a great tip. I heard it and I think it's fantastic, and I think it's already giving, our business a boost, is that, when we're recalling the same sellers, right? Because a lot of times they're not ready to sell yet, but I always tell them, hey, I'm going to follow up with you. What we're now doing is, instead of just following back up and say, hey, you ready to sell now, right? We're giving them something, right? So in commercial, I'll let them know, hey, I just saw this property. I can look up the comps, or I can look up what properties just sold, or I can look up the cap rates and just say, like I just did it today. I called the seller. I go, hey, just giving you a call. I just want to let you know that I just saw that the cap rate now is about 8.5. I think that's fantastic, especially for, what you bought it for. I would love to talk with you again. Or, hey, Mr. Seller, I talked to this apartment guy. I go, hey, Mr. Seller, just want to let you know, obviously I'm still interested in buying it, but I just want to tell you, a property just on the street sold for $70 a unit. And I think that's what you could get for your property. And I'll tell you how I know that is because I just bought that thing for $70 a unit. So that's why I think we could do that with you as well. You're just giving something else. And again, it's just thinking differently. How can I add value? How can I add value? And again, it's all through networking, because even the phone calls, it's networking. You're really starting to, put something out there for them to see. And so anyway, I thought that was a slick trick that someone showed me, and now we're using for our own business.
No, that's awesome. I like that one. Let's shift it for a quick second before we wrap it up here.
Okay.
Besides the networking and the like-minded people, let's talk about, the people that you may be surrounding yourself right now that are not like-minded, and they might be too negative and talking down a little bit and like pulling the energy. So if you're around people that are really talking a lot of negative about stuff and how you can't do real estate, or you shouldn't do that, or this or that, block those people out. I did the book many, many years ago in the late 20s. I did the book The Secret. And I literally took 6 months. I cut out about 85% of my people in my life, even family members. And even some immediate family members, I had to like put a wall up and kind of like, hey, I love you guys. You're great, but I had to refocus. And I was alone pretty much for almost 6 months, and just started going back out and making new friends. And the friends that I wanted were people that I was looking up to, that I was looking for, that would be my like mentors towards me to help pull me to another level. So keep that in mind. Like if you're around people and you're trying to get into real estate, or you're there and people kind of talking and pulling you back a little bit. These days nowadays, most people are supportive, but back when we first started, you would have people in the family, oh, you don't want to do this or you don't want to do that. Just block them out and just kind of push forward. What are your thoughts on that, Marty?
Yeah, you're 100% on with that. And to even go above one, right, with that same thought, is that when you're doing different things, right, when you're in business, when you're doing real estate investing, okay, you are going to, your problems are going to come to you, okay? And let me say something, that's good, because that means you're having problems that normal people are not ever going to have. Okay. So you got to remember that. And what I'm going to get to in a second, because what's going to happen is people go, dude, relax. You don't need to do that. You don't need to go so hard. You got to cut those folks out, because those are the people that have no clue. If you're going to take any advice from anybody, take the advice from people who've already done it. Okay. You don't listen to anybody who's never done anything before. That's the key to what Mark was saying and to what I'm getting at. But more importantly, you need to really be, when you're doing this type of thing, when you're doing real estate, and I know we're kind of getting off topic here with this part, but when you are going into this real estate and you're getting into business, you need to be a fanatic. And people need to see that you're a fanatic, because you need to have the urgency and you need to have the belief in that vision that you're trying to create. Because when Mark was saying those people are going to come in, that's the people that are going to give you doubt. Those are the people that are going to, hit at your confidence. Those are the people that are going to come out of nowhere and set up landmines for you to get you off track. So you really want to be clear on your vision on why you're going to these meetups and networking. Okay. It's to change your life, change your family's trajectory, right? You want to change your family's tree, right? If you want to be the one in your family, you want to be the Neo of your family, like the Matrix. Okay. Well, you got to do those different things. You're going to get the problems that are going to come, but don't let the people who've never had those problems come in and try to give you advice. Okay. Get advice from people who have actually had those problems and then been able to accomplish the mission. And then the third thing is, you've got to be a fanatic. You've got to be just absolutely almost going like, holy crap, Marty is just going way too hard. then I know you're doing something right. Okay. So keep that in mind. And I think that's how I'd like to wrap up today, Mark. Before we do wrap up, one last thing you want to leave people with, Mark.
Just get out there and network. Just don't be afraid. And hey, if you have a deal and you need help, reach out to one of us. We'll walk you through it and we'll network together.
That's it, guys. I believe that is the absolute truth of it. Go out there, network with people. You can network with us. You have a deal, you have something you want to work on. Mark, Ronnie, Gabe, myself, if you got something upstate, would love to look at it. And anyway, appreciate you all. We'll see you next time. Enjoy. Download the podcast. Talk to people. Tell people what we're doing as well. We'd appreciate that. All right. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This has been another episode of Real Estate Power Play, guiding real estate entrepreneurs to a brighter future. If you liked what you heard, consider subscribing wherever you listen to your podcast or follow us on YouTube at Real Estate Power Play.